Showtime.
Dynamite download.
Dynamite download, your home for all positive coverage on all elite wrestling.
Promo like the DMV. There.
This is the Symphony Boys.
The
symphony of five.
Hello, you guys. Positive energy. You have a great. Your tribal fruit.
Along, I come along in the.
Well, actually, I did see that, and I was thinking.
John Silver, welcome to the show, John. How you doing?
More than a taste.
We were more than a taste.
Cold spray. Tired of the cold spray.
I went to the back to do an interview with those guys. You know why? Because they spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Woo!
What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining us for episode 110 of Dynamite Download. I am working on a little technical issue. Oh, here we go. We are going live on Instagram as well. So we are live on Instagram as we speak, just making sure we're good all on that. So thank you for joining us if you're on Instagram for Dynamite Download, episode 101. Welcome, everybody. Mindrunner and SPD. Hope you guys all enjoyed Dynamite last night because we certainly did. But before we dive into Dynamite, we got to touch base on what we've been doing the last few weeks. That is our draft standings. And it,
yes,
with a tear in my eye, we have to see where we're standing on this because your boy SPD is pulling up the rear right now, and Mindrunner's sitting on top of the throne. So, Mindrunner, why don't you throw it up and take it away on that?
Well, I would love to. Before I get to the rankings, I just got to tell you, oldest ride, longest line.
That's right.
Best thing going today, baby, is of course up our logo is blocking it. Is that
on purpose.
30? Am I tied with Cray at 30? Am I 36? This calls for a celebration, I think. Yes, 36.
You better use that towel to get that hotness off you because you're on a hot streak right now. Your bronze is burning up.
Now, I may have a rough weekend. I do have Chris Statlander on Rampage, taking on Queen Aminata. Now, Queen Aminata is on a hot streak too. She's been really crunching the numbers. Hasn't been pulling off a win just yet.
Yeah.
But she's been crushing it. Anything could happen. But I don't know if anybody can catch me at this point. I think it, especially with my returning private party, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Now, this requires a celebration. Unofficial sponsor, as I told you, each week I'm going to test drive a new Woo Energy. And this time we're taking a ride on the strawberry banana. And it says on the back, if you don't like it, learn to love it. Woo!
That's great. That's great. I still have not tried out the Woo Energy. On a personal level, if we do get a sponsorship, I'll drink a couple of cold ones myself, but I haven't had an actual energy drink in a few years now. But, if the sponsorship's paying, then I'll be sipping away. Right now, it's a self-sponsorship right here in a purple can.
Go. We're still working the paperwork out with Woo Energy here.
Yeah, good thing you got that towel on you right there to help clean up that mess.
I know why Samoa Joe has his towel.
He's a messy guy. But speaking of Samoa Joe, last night's main event was Samoa Joe versus Hook. Here we go. We're going to throw up the Dynamite card that we saw last night. Honestly, it just felt like such a breath of fresh air for Dynamite last night. I mean, it just something to me was just clicking nonstop at Dynamite, where I was just like so geeked about the landscape that AEW is in right now. With everything that we saw pan out and a lot of stuff, and the opening match exceeded my expectations tenfold. Not that I didn't expect great things from it, but it really was way better than I expected it to be, with a short build with Christian Cage and Dustin Rhodes, the Natural. But and then ending the show. So it had a lot, and then in the middle had different arcs, and we saw returns, and we saw some great character work by all the promos that we saw. So a lot happened in Dynamite, and to me, it was clicking. It was clicking for me. What about you?
Big time. Really starting to feel like the AEW of old. I would be remiss to say that there hasn't been some feeling of kind of ambiguity, and we don't need to go back to the all out brawl out and the all in brawl in, whatever,
Right.
Crimea River stuff. But it's really things are really starting to click, not only with the main title picture. I
Right.
love Samoa, as you can tell, I love Samoa Joe as the champion.
It's the scarf for a towel.
It's exactly. But we're also seeing a lot of things being set up, not just for Revolution, but for Beyond. Tony Khan himself tweeted out today that 2024 is going to be amazing. So he's already got some stuff cooking. But we're setting up, again, the return of Private Party, and among other tag teams, it's setting up the tag team division to get back to where it used to be. The return of the Stash Bucks, the Heel Bucks, among other things. Also, the women's division. Deonna Purrazzo has not let me down, or Diana Palazzo, as Tony Storm refers to. But we'll talk about that. I'd like to talk about that women's division too. But with Deonna Purrazzo, with some rumors that there might be some more money coming to the women's division, I think that two of the arguably weaker divisions in AEW are getting a lot of attention now, but it's not at the expense of the other divisions as well. And I know we're going to talk about the specifics, but
that's a good point.
Almost every title feels hot. Like, I don't think there's a title right now in AEW that is. Can you think of a title, and let us know in the chat? Is there a title that you don't think is hot right now? Because the
trios.
The trios. Well,
because of the lack of defenses as of late, but they are starting to reemerge on TV, so it's gaining back momentum. But the lack of defenses is definitely kind of shocking to me with such a babyface team. Unless there's something we don't know going on.
Exactly. However, what you are seeing is the development and polishing of a lot of trios out there. Gates of Agony, Brian Cage, we're going to talk about them losing the ROH trios.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean they can't go after the Scissor Gang, or Gang Scissor, whatever. You also have that incredible trios of Top Flight with Action Andretti.
Right.
We've got to see Ray Phoenix return. I don't know if Commander's going to fill in, but who we're hoping is returning soon to bring Death Triangle back. And there's a lot of other potential trios coming. So I do think you're right. That's one that hasn't had as many defenses, but I think they're setting the stage for that.
Yeah, you're right about that. You make a good point. They have really laid out the groundwork for a strong trios division as of late over the tag division. And I hope for 2024, it's the year of the tag division and the year of the women's division. Those are two ones that really could catapult this company to like new heights, in my opinion. Speaking of that, I think we should start with a tag match. And so, dealer's choice for you, Mind Runner, being what would you want to talk about? The Orange Cassidy Trent and Penta Commander tag match, or do you want to talk about your reigning, re-debuting Private Party versus the Top Flight match?
Well, let's start with, of course, Private Party and Top Flight. I do want to talk about
is
them.
That Private Party?
Oh my gosh, is that Private Shots. Here we go. This ain't WADA. No, first off the bat, the returning Mark Quinn looked like he gained like 15, 20 pounds. Not fat, like muscle.
Right. And
from what I understand is while he was this time off, he wasn't slacking at all. Like he was hitting the gym. I think he was pouring muscle growth hormones in his Wheaties, whatever. I will say this. I'm color me biased, but I think that my expectations were higher for this match than I think it reasonably should have been.
Okay.
Because, and in a way, Private Party was the top flight when AEW started. They
Agreed.
were that young, flippy-do, extremely athletic, extremely acrobatic tag team tandem that Top Flight is now. And they're just now back together. So I was expecting this to be up there with like the Vikingo versus Commander versus all those flippy guys. It didn't start out that way. It actually kind of started out slow. But as predicted, once we came back from Picture in Picture, our good friend, it really started to take off. And I think it was important for Private Party to get the W here, but I don't think we've seen the last of this rivalry. And this could be this could actually turn into a heated rivalry for the tag team titles. I even would encourage us to consider another tag team tournament. And I would love to see these two face off in the finals to see who would face Ricky and Big Bill.
I had great high expectations for this because both these teams have delivered together and individually on so many levels that really had my jaw on the ground. And I think before I talk about all the positives that I loved about this match, I think the picture in picture and the way the timing of the show was that this laid out on it kind of like lost a little bit of steam for me for some reason. I don't know why, but I felt like this could have been a great opening match. Give us a high energy, fewer commercial breaks, and just really just tear the house down with just some like acrobatic stuff. That all aside, it's great to have Private Party back. And, early on, I was always a big fan of them. And I thought they had some great in-ring stuff. So seeing them back together for the first time in 13 months and Top Flight recently back together as well. Two young core groups that are really pretty unmatched with the stuff that they can do in the ring. So just these two getting back together is really just establishing the tag team division is to me, it's back. I think the tag team division is back and in a good way. And these two teams are going to be the backbone of it going forward for a long time to come.
Very well said. I agree 1,000%. Absolutely. This you can build an entire tag team division around these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving forward, I think it was the right decision to, as I was watching this match, I'm like, who wins this match? Who? Because it's like you have a team that's been off the shelf together for a while. And then you have a team that's recently back and gotten some good momentum going. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I felt like either team could have taken the victory and either team could have taken the loss and still not been necessarily hurt by it. But I think this was the right booking with Private Party. I'm all for a return wrestler always winning. Just giving them momentum, because you don't want to suck this wind out of the sails too quick by anyone. Even if Private Party loses their next 5 matches, at least they right now they got us talking about them. Right now they got us thinking, okay, they're back and they just won. And so who are they going to face next? But you always have to keep the wind going strong in the sails of a returning wrestler, no matter what. You can't have them get beat down. You can't have them lose and certain things like that. So this was the right booking with it. I'm curious to where they go with this. A tag team tournament could be in store if what we heard from Darby's promo. I mean, they said that they want to go out with the tag team titles. So that was a kind of almost maybe a missed thing for most people, I think, because a lot of us are talking about that promo with the Young Bucks and the Young Bucks last week on Dynamite, that's going to be their closing match. But now Darby's talking about tag team championships. I mean, we're less than 2 months from Revolution, less than 2 months from Sting's final match. And they're going to, how and when are they going to win the tag team championships? Are they going to challenge them relatively soon? Win them, or is them winning them at Revolution like the final cherry on top? If you go out on winning the belts, it's like, how could Sting? I mean, he's made up his mind, but as a competitive person, if you win the championship and then you relinquish it the next day, like how would you go about that? If that was on their mind, Sting and Darby, for going out as champs,
that sets up the tag team tournament. If they win the titles and then that's it, it's now it's kind of like when and again, the Dynamite was the anniversary of losing Jay Briscoe. When they went out as the ROH champions, and then they had the I believe they had a tournament for Ring of Honor titles, for the championship to who's going to get the new ROH tag team titles.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to do it. You could do a tournament. You could do
That's
a
a
tag
good
team
point.
battle royal, what have
I really
you.
didn't think of that.
But I think that's interesting. I picked up on that too. It almost went by, but then we all were kind of like, hey, what did he say?
Right.
So what's going to be interesting to see is how they play this out, because it does look like it's going to be Bucks versus Darby and Sting. So where does that leave Ricky and Bill?
Right.
And do you wonder, like, I wonder if the plan was originally for Ricky and Bill to lose the tag titles at Battle of the Belts, but then again, it's Battle of the Belts and no title changes hands at Battle of the Belts. So
except when Sammy won, he made a point of that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there were two. I think
I didn't know that until he said that. He said he won the TNT Championship at a Battle of the Belts before.
Okay, there were two titles that changed hands at Battle of the Belts. Sammy, and then there was one other. I can't remember which the other one. But that's this was Battle of the Belts 9. So you figure there's 3 matches. So 9 times 3, 27. So out of 27 matches, 25 of them, no title changed hands.
And all title matches, might you add, because it is Battle of the Belts.
Exactly. So
yeah, that's an interesting take on that. Maybe that'll change going forward in this year, but you were lucky enough to be at that Battle of the Belts to witness some awesome tournament or awesome matches, and especially being front row seat like that. Total marked out on that. So let's move on to one match I really want to talk about was that delivered me like tenfold. Was an opening number, Christian Cage versus the Natural Dustin Rhodes. Dustin as of late has been featured a lot, and man, the stuff that he's been doing with the fiery promo, outstanding work in the ring, it's really incredible that what we're seeing out of him, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And the crowd is over for him. Man, the crowd was so hot for him in South Carolina for sure on Dynamite. But man, this back and forth battle felt like a pay-per-view match with a slight build, but the amount of close calls, kickouts, and everything, it just was like, man, it got me popping a lot at home watching this, because I couldn't believe some of the kickouts that they were doing. The Canadian Destroyer on the outside to Nick Wayne.
That was insane.
It was absolutely brutal and impressive, but definitely exceeded my expectations a lot with this match right here. And it was a home run opener, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And, Dustin gets a lot of heat online, and just a lot of people just, they kind of are dismissive of him. And I think they're sleeping. I think this is a guy that at some point is going to get some gold. It may not be in the near future, but before he retires, Gold, the formerly known as Gold Dust, is going to get some gold. He was tremendous. I mean, the promo last week, we saw him live against Willie Mack. Now, granted, I have a special place in my heart for Willie Mack. So I was actually cheering for Willie Mack, but I can't help it. I love the dude. But Dustin showed up to work at Collision for that match. And ever since he replaced Keith Lee for that match with Swerve, he has shown up. Like he has filled that spot, what have you. And he's on a roll. It's like he's taking the ball and running with it. That promo he cut on Christian Cage last week was incredible. The promo he cut, it was at Collision, was incredible. And it hyped up. I think it turned this match again. What I love about matches like this, we all really know he's not going to win the TNT title from Christian Cage, but he might. And it's that might that gets you. And Dustin did everything he could to get you to that point where, what if he does? Because the crowd was behind him. He was
kicking out of his finisher.
Yes, absolutely. And the hype around this whole match, including, one of the things, Dustin Rhodes has the best power slam in the game. I wish more wrestlers did power slams, but he has that catch power slam that's just incredible. He knows how the ring psychology, how to get the most out of a match. He knows how to work the heels, The crowd was behind him. They were rooting for him. He had his Texas underoos on. He was ready for the whole thing. And I feel like he made the absolute most of this. Dustin Rhodes is so underrated, but I think it's one of those things where he's a soldier. He shows up when he's needed. I do think at some point we should get some gold on him to definitely acknowledge his contributions, but he showed, and I think the difference in age between he and Christian's not that much. I think it's like 4 years, but he showed the back that, hey, you guys might be the youngins, but this is how you work. This is how you cut a promo. This is how you hype a match, and this is how you work in a ring. And I feel like he and Christian ran a clinic.
You're absolutely right. I mean, guys that are in their 50s putting on a clinic that they are doing is, they're walking circles around people in the back, and they should be holding their head up high with the showcase that they put on Dynamite for sure. And I mean, you nailed it 100%. I mean, if you want to lead by example, just watch the tape. It doesn't lie.
Yes.
I mean, a fiery promo in a short amount of time, hyping up a match that, doesn't get a 2-month or a month program, anything like that. And it made it relevant and it delivered. And I don't know if he all along was supposed to kick out of that first finisher or what, or if he just wanted to milk it for one more. But all for it, man. It was I think this match had the most, someone posted about match times on All Dynamite. This one, I think it was the longest of the night. And I hate to even bring it up, knock people's age, but you call a spade. But the two oldest guys in the ring all night had the longest match and one of the most impressive matches.
I told you before, SBD. Oldest ride, longest line. Oldest ride, longest match. Woo! That's why I drink the strawberry banana, and I'm sounding like Dusty Rhodes again and not Ric Flair. So here we go.
You have that towel around your neck right now. I think it's time for a hot take right now. So do we got ourselves a hot take?
I think we do have a hot take. And ladies and gentlemen, the hot take is coming from me. I do a pretty good job of curating my social media to avoid as many trolls as possible. Some slip through, and last night a couple slipped through on a very specific topic, and I'm talking about the new 6-man tag for ROH champions, the Bang Bang Gang, Bullet Club Gold. But there were a lot of trolls upset last night because they somehow think that this is a waste of Jay White and the Guns. Well, here's a hot take for you. Not at all. First of all, this goes back to when Jay White was originally in the old school Ring of Honor, and he was in the 6-man tournament. Almost got there. So now this is something on his bucket list that has come full circle. But I'm sure you're worried about the casual fans. Well, here's the thing. By putting the Gun Club and Jay White as the 6-man tag team champions for Ring of Honor, not only does that elevate these titles, but it also elevates Ring of Honor itself. Now, before you start getting your panties in a bunch, this doesn't mean that they're now going to be exclusively on Ring of Honor. That didn't happen with MJF and Adam Cole. That didn't happen with Claudio. That didn't even happen with the Gates of Agony. The crossover between AEW and Ring of Honor continues. But what it does do is it gives eyeballs on Ring of Honor, which it needs. And, we should really be checking out because we're missing a lot of cool stuff. But it also doesn't mean they're not going to be pursuing anything else. Jay White could still go after that world title. Heck, MGF had the world title and the Ring of Honor tag team belts. Speaking of tag team belts, with this breathing life into the tag team division in AEW with the return of Private Party and all these other tag teams coming back. It's a matter of time before the Gun Club goes back after those tag team titles. So this is not anything other than a celebration. And if you can't get down with that, I got 2 words for you, but I'm going to let my buddy Rock Card Juice Board tell you himself. Guns up. That's right. Guns up, baby.
All the way.
Guns up.
And new Ring of Honor World Trios Champion, the Bang Bang Gang, baby. And that was a great hot take by Mindrunner over there. And I loved a lot of the points you made. And, you know, very valid points on everything. I didn't really go down the old choo-choo troll train last night at all. You know, I was soaking in just the moment of a great episode of Dynamite without having to deal with many of that, which is I couldn't imagine as a wrestler having to deal with that constantly. But you nailed it. I think the victory is a great breath of fresh air for the Ring of Honor Trios champions. As much as I did like the Gates of Agony and Brian Cage as champions, this doesn't handcuff the Bang Bang Gang at all to be strictly on Ring of Honor. And, you know, you made a point about MJF. He never appeared on Ring of Honor, and he was the tag team champion for how many months, even though he was a solo belt holder. So he didn't appear in Ring of Honor once, from what I recall. So this is that's something you kind of called Bang Bang Gang with the trios. You could almost book it where, you know, we're going to have Juice. What is it? Juice Card. Rock
Juice Card. No, Rock Card.
Rock Card.
I'm trying to think of what it is. What do you mean? Oh, somebody's trying to load in here. I forget who it is.
Rock Card Juice.
Rock Card Juice Blade. Juice. Rock Card Juice Board.
Juice Board. Okay. But it's you could totally have like these guys be the trios champ, and then if once Juice comes back, you know, Jay White could be like, hey, you know, we're a group. You take the belt, and then I'm gonna pursue the heavyweight championship. You know, almost like just in a sense like transferring the belt, because you know if you're a part of a group, as we've talked about before, like it's kind of like with the tag team belts. Like if you're part of a faction, you know, it can kind of be. If they ever did that where it's like intertwined, like the House of Black, they're tag team champs, but okay, you're getting Brody King and Buddy Matthews tonight, or you're getting Malachi and Buddy, and whatever it may be. I know that's kind of non-traditional, but the Bang Bang Gang is anything but non-traditional. So, you know, the victory with these guys, absolutely love the decision for this, adding more gold to the Bang, or giving gold to the Bullet Club Gold for the first time is definitely a smart move. These guys are fantastic in the ring. All 3 of them just click so much so together. But let me get your take on the match that we saw. Then we're going to talk about something before the match, the theme song.
Yo, we definitely need to talk about the theme song, because the theme song was incredible. We'll talk about that. The match, okay. A couple things.
Yeah.
I mean, Toa Leona and Bishop Khan, I like them as a tandem. I think Brian Cage is still so underrated. If this is going to free up Gates of Agony to go tag team, because again, I think we're building up more tag teams. I'd like to see Gates of Agony be a wrecking crew in the tag team division. But what the streets want.
Oh yeah. Say it.
Streets want. Yeah,
Say
they saw it at Collision. They want big, beefy men slapping man meat. They want the battle of the beast. They want the machine Brian Cage versus the murder hawk Lance Archer. which we got a taste. We got a taste of that on Collision, but that's what the streets are wanting. The streets are wanting that match.
Please give us that match as soon as possible.
Tony,
It's going to deliver with two absolute powerhouses.
Tony Khan, we've been supporting you since AEW started. We've been good. We've done so much. All we ask in return, we're just asking for this one match.
Please
book this match, please. Book the Murder Hawk versus the Machine. You pick the stipulation. You know it's got to be a steel cage, or it's got to be
something. This match, they have time to build. This match is. I gotta find the photo while we're talking about this, because that photo is fantastic stuff. I think
tremendous.
You need some awesome stipulation, because it just seems too much at stake. I feel like, I mean, yes, we have a little bit of slowly seeds planted, but I would just love something unique, a Texas death match, a no DQ, a street fight. Any of the above, man.
Here's the thing, too. AEW is known for a lot of its luchador, a lot of its flippy do. We've got that on lock. We've got the Rey Fenix. We've got the Vikingo. We've got Top Flight. We've got the Young Bucks. We've got all of that on lock. But that's been the stigma, is a lot of people saying, oh, it's just backyard mud show. It's just like spot monkeys. Where's the real stuff? But you've got Brian Cage, who looks like a superhero or a supervillain. Heck, he played Thanos in the AAA Marvel thing that they did. You've got you've got Murder Hawk. Murder Hawk in New Japan is a beast. And this photo right here says it all. Look at that. Look at the Swolverine versus Lance, the Murder Hawk monster. You've got this. It writes itself. And again, we got it. The crowd was already whet its appetite when we had Powerhouse Hobbs versus Miro. When we had the meat.
I was there live in Chicago for it.
They were chanting meat. We want meat. We want these kind of matches. And right here is a carne asada buffet. You've got this is the butcher shop. This is pure meat steak dinner right here. You've got the meat that we need. It's like Arby's. Lance Archer versus the Machine, Brian Cage, is Arby's. They got the meat.
Hey, you're making me salivate thinking about all this meat and the steak and all the above. But this kind of just dates back to like old school wrestling of big guys. And so you're right. AEW is filled with a roster of incredibly athletic men and women. But AEW needs to showcase their big behemoths in ones that are absolutely incredible in the ring. And both guys are very underrated in the ring too.
Exactly. These are two big beefy men that can do those flippy stuff too. Absolutely. I mean, cut you off, but these guys can do that kind of stuff.
I mean, both these guys are pretty close to total package wrestlers with the awesome size they have, the awesome in-ring agility stuff. Both guys have great promo work when they have been given the time to showcase all that. So please, please, please just give us this match as soon as possible. Yes, save it for the pay-per-view. I don't want any picture-in-picture. No. Give us a stipulation, Texas death match, no DQ, street fight, any of the above. Something that we haven't seen because, when was the last time? I guess you can go back to Wardlow and Hobbs. I guess you kind of and like you said, Miro and Hobbs. But we haven't gotten that many big man battles, and Kong versus Godzilla, type of that stuff. Like this match should be so easy to build and book.
Yeah, it books itself, and no Rampage. No, not even Collision, not even Dynamite. This has got to be pay-per-view. You could set it up. I wouldn't be mad if they had a regular match that set up the stip match, the blow off at Revolution.
Sure.
I wouldn't be upset with that. But this is just the two of them staring each other down that you could feel it. So let's go.
I don't know if I don't know if this picture was planned or this spot. I don't know if this spot was planned or not, but the way the camera captured this this is a still shot, but the way we captured it live on TV, it was just perfectly placed. The way Lance was staring an absolute laser hole through Brian Cage's head. Right away, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the match that I didn't know I wanted so much. And right away, I was like, oh my gosh, please give us more of this. And great work to both guys and to the camera crew for capturing this the way it was. Fantastic.
Do you wonder if maybe that was planned in the back, like the two of them? Like,
it could have.
That's
an interesting thing because both of these guys are promoting this match online.
Yeah.
And so it could be one of those things where you have that creative freedom where it's like you're pitching this idea, whether it be approved or not, and you're also just planting these seeds with the IWC and the AEW fan base where it's like, how is this going to work? Just keep doing it, and you're finally going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's going to. I think we're seeing some traction, some good traction, and we're going to have it.
Tony Khan, we got 2 words for you. Book it. Book it. Book it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right. Anyways, back to that was pretty much a hot take on its own right there. So back to what we were talking about earlier, the Bang Bang Gang getting a brand new theme song.
Yes.
This one has Austin Gunn written all over it, and hopefully we'll get to the bottom of the story. But with a team that already has one of the top entrances in all of wrestling, adding an awesome new song entrance music to their repertoire, and then on top of that, securing new gold all in one night, man, it was a marquee night for the Bang Bang Gang for sure. Incredible stuff. Loved the new theme song, and congrats to the Bang Bang Gang for capturing gold tonight.
I thought that was true. And this is a sign that, again, going back to my hot take, Tony Khan is investing in the Bang Bang Gang. He knows that they're money.
Yeah, you're smart if you're doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And that if you haven't heard that song, by the way, I'm surprised it's not a Ruckus original that they got. It's actually somebody else. And just listening to the song, I just have this image of like Jay White walking into a saloon, and then there's Austin playing blackjack. There's Juice pounding shots at the bar, and there's Colton in the back chatting up the ladies. And then they decide to hold up the whole place. There's a big bar fight, and then they all ride off into the night with sacks of gold. I think that's the video
visual
right there.
That's a great visual. Yeah, they add that kind of scene to their Titantron video, their entrance video as well. For those of you watching live, a little bit of a inside scoop for those of you. Stay tuned for next week. We're going to be interviewing Colton Gunn on Monday, and so we're going to post that video. The interview most likely we'll get it all edited and approved for a Tuesday release. So just before Dynamite, talk to the newly crowned trios champion in Ring of Honor, and a lot to talk about him. So stay tuned for our channel to hear that interview next week. So we're really pumped about that. We cannot wait for that. That being said, before we talk about the main event, I know you got a lot to say about the women's division.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the women's division. Still a lot in Dynamite, but I know, in interest of time, I want to hit some of our key points that we always want to hit on. But Anna Jay versus Deonna Purrazzo, I think it's nice that we've had a debut in AEW where it's like been maximized so far. 2 matches in 4 day span, and instant feud at the top. And I think that's exactly what you got to do if you want to push a new signee and someone on Deonna's level, former champ in her essence and other promotions. So I think it's a great move on TK's part and AEW's part for really pushing her to the top right away, and essentially which looks like a program that we're going to get at the pay-per-view. Dethroning Tony, I mean, that's TBD to, all that, but I think the way they've booked her so far has been perfect.
Absolutely. I agree. A couple of things here, and we'll get into it a little bit more, I think, when we talk about the main event. But one thing that I wish AEW did less of is whenever you bring in, you hype up this match and you have this champion versus challenger, and it's an incredible match and both people look great. The champion retains or what have you.
Right.
And the challenger loses. I don't want the loser to disappear, the person that didn't win to then just disappear. Now, granted, MJF, I understand he's healing. He's off.
Sure.
He's off to the Lisa Toot, and they're doing some kind of Caribbean trip or something. But with Deonna, if she's not going to win, then she needs to still be a powerful force, which is, again, they need women's tag team titles because a tag team title is a great pivot for when a woman, if one of the women challenge for the main title, they don't get it. Well, there's the tag titles. Find a part, she can find a partner. There's a number of pivots that she can go to. Also, Anna Jay is still, she's another one that's continuing to be one of those soldiers. It continues to work, and she's the thing with Anna Jay is without the JAS, without Dark Order, I think she needs to find herself. She needs to find herself a spot, and she looked great in this. She also helped Deonna look great. That submission move that Deonna had at the end, I think it's called the Venus de Milo.
That was shoulder shirt.
Yeah,
my shoulder shirt watching that.
Popping. But as much as this was a showcase for Deonna, I felt like Toni Storm stole the spotlight, and not necessarily a bad way. I actually think if there was any rust on Deonna, which there wasn't, but if there's anything, it enhanced the whole moment because Toni was in rare form. She was hilarious. First of all, mistaking Ian Riccaboni as a younger Tony Schiavone.
Oh my gosh!
And then some of the comments she's making. Whatever you're doing with your feet, keep doing it. Do it harder. And to the point where at the end, when she gets on Luther's shoulders, and she actually got Renee and Deonna to break. I'm going to punch you in the box, and they started cracking up. There's so much. Toni Storm is this character that she's morphed into. Not only is a blessing to the women's division, but it's a blessing to AEW, and it continues. She continues to find gold every time she's on the screen. I hope she doesn't lose the title anytime soon, but if she does, she doesn't need the title. In fact, if anything, losing the title would be a great narrative for her next series, so she can have that mental breakdown again, or blame Mariah May or something like that. I think there's so much to work with here. Deonna Purrazzo, Toni Storm, they are making the women's division even better. I want more Red Velvet, more Abaddon, but I understand Abaddon is in the Ring of Honor deal right now, but we need some more storylines going on, but I think we're stepping in the right direction. And if the weather's permitting, I think we're in for some big money matches post-Revolution.
That is there's not much more to say about that because, you nailed it. I think that a common thing we like to say, iron sharpens iron. And yes, with Deonna and Toni, I think this is still in its infancy with the feud and the build, but it's really showcasing a lot. And I think it's been a lot of fun so far. And I hope we continue to you got to keep the pedal on the metal. You have to keep the throttle going with Deonna and this feud. You can't slow down with her if you're really going to, what happened with, I almost feel like I don't want to happen with Deonna what happened with Taya Valkyrie.
Yes.
And so that was a similar thing. Big, established name, joining AEW, awesome in the ring. I hope that we don't get that where you have your opportunity, like you just said, have your opportunity, then you disappear. Something like that, and I created this. I haven't sent it to you guys yet, but like we talked about the other show, let's work on this. Let's work on this week.
Yes.
A mock women's tag team tournament. So we're going to have eight teams that Dynamite Download is going to come up with, and we're going to create a mock women's tournament. So next week's show, we will have the 8 teams that we have mocked up. The following week's show, we'll break it down to the final 4. And every single week, we'll break it down all the way till we get the inaugural winners. As we would book it, given a perfect landscape. Or we can either book it fantasy book, or we can book it as a realistic landscape as we see fit today. So one of those two, something for us all to consider, including Crayfish. So next week, Women's Tag Team Tournament bracket from Dynamite Download is going to be released. Now, this is a fantasy tag team tournament. We do not have tag team belts on the women's division just yet. But if we were to have those announced, this is how we would book it. So stay tuned for
these
that.
are going to be the official Dynamite Download Women's Tag Team Champions, whoever it ends up.
That's true.
Being absolutely.
And then I know TK will take this and he'll take it back and he'll book it all. So this is just looking into a crystal ball of the future AEW Women's Tag Team Champions, the inaugural winners of that. So
and tell us too in the comments. Tell us what teams would you like to see. And it doesn't have to be an existing team. What's your fantasy booking? Tell us in the comments below. I know my buddy Bobby, he's a huge women's wrestling fan, and I know he's got some thoughts on what tag teams he'd like to see. So tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
You're absolutely right. Yes, please give us some feedback. We've brainstormed a little bit internally, but we're definitely open to some different suggestions as well. So let's dive in so we can maximize our time about this, the main event of Dynamite. And so where in the world is my photo of the main event?
Well, I will tell you, while you search for said photo,
I got this one to start.
So many people didn't think this was going to be any kind of a challenge for Samoa Joe. Hook versus Samoa Joe. Did anybody really think that Hook was going to win? Well, I started to wonder after this match. I thought this match was incredible. And not only was it incredible as far as a match itself, but what it has done for Hook is what the Hangman Swerve feud has done for Swerve. I think this actually elevated Hook to almost world champion level because of the way he handled Samoa Joe. Now, he's not ready. I don't think it's going to be his year. I think he's still got time to grow. But the way that Samoa Joe reacted and let Hook get his moves in the few times he did, and those kickouts, and then afterwards the whole thing with Hook saying that's all you got and you just can't keep the man down. The added drama of Taz being on commentary for this whole thing. This was chef's kiss as far as I'm concerned. And I think this should be a blueprint for what AEW's veterans do for the younger guys. Because, yes, Hook lost this match, but it elevated him. Samoa Joe is the perfect champion right now. I think there's so many cool directions we can go, and we'll talk about the aftermath and all that as well. But this match with Hook for me was a showcase of a veteran elevating a younger talent to his level. Because Hook had, yes, choreography aside, Hook had to perform at Samoa Joe's level in this match, and he delivered. And I thought this was tremendous. Chef's kiss. And I think I'd love to see this again before Samoa Joe retires.
Man, sorry, I'm just writing some notes down on this. My napkin, because a lot of clips that we need to cut based on this combo that we have, because there's some very, very good stuff for sure. That being said, hold that thought for 2 seconds.
I'll hold that thought. I'll continue to talk because I thought this was so tremendous. One of the things that I love about Hook is that he's one of those characters that they haven't really messed with all that much because they've kept him to be this Diablo Guapo. And I know the social media, don't hinder gender. Hook, who's Hook versus all. There's that. That's for people that live in their basement and want to cry. I'm talking about this match with Hook. He earned the shot. He had a great record, but it was tremendous to see him shine like he did, and to show the guys in the back, hey, this is what's possible. You could have that match with Samoa Joe. You could have that main event. This is what you're capable of. Hook showed up for work. Samoa Joe was the teacher, and class was in session, and it was an A+.
I had to get a cold one to moisten my throat because of the rant that we're going to talk about on this one. Not a rant, but the praise of this one. So I have to say, cheers, everyone. Cheers for that. Cheers. I have to say that AEW did one of the best builds for the match that necessarily wasn't the marquee match that we all expected, and it made it that marquee match that we all got. Yes. And so we got a fantastic build with Hook, who could have been written off by other people, like you mentioned, and not necessarily the number one person in line. Maybe some people with head scratchers why this is the case, but the way that AEW built this was pay-per-view quality build. Yes. And the way that AEW and TK went all in on it, I think it delivered 100%. I've seen some 5-star ratings on there online on Twitter, and certain people talking about how fantastic this match was, the viewership this match was. I think all thanks to the pre-build that AEW did in TK. So they did a fantastic job on that essence and that level, making it that much. And on top of that, TK and AEW going all in on a commercial-free overrun main event. Yes. Commercial-free overrun. That is the big money. And I saw this, I'm taking it from someone else's post, is if you're not making money, you're not going to be depriving yourself from commercial revenue. So AEW, for all those haters and everyone talking about, whatever revenue and all this other stuff, who should just be enjoying wrestling, not worrying about the small stuff like that, he was putting his money where his mouth is. And yes. He went commercial free, which I would love that if they did more of this. Not to knock a product, but the few times as of late that I've watched WWE, the uncomfortable overuse of commercials is absolutely impossible to watch.
Yeah.
This match had 10-15 minutes of actual wrestling, but the overall segment was 15 to 20 minutes of commercial free. And as a fan, I was just like marking out. So thank you, AEW.
Thank you, AEW. Yeah. Thank you, Hook. Thank you, Samoa Joe. Real quick, again, I'm not bashing WWE. WWE actually now with Hunter in charge is really looking good.
Sure, I want the best for them.
I caught parts of the recent Raw. My complaint with WWE is like they had less matches than AEW Dynamite with 3 hours. Yeah, it's like a lot of promos. However, some of those promos involved my pick for the winner of the WWE Royal Rumble this year. Ron Killings, R-Truth. R-Truth is going to win. Mark my words. R-Truth's going to win the Royal Rumble. Now,
what's his gimmick? What's up?
Well, right now he is also one of the MVP of Judgment Day, as well as the top merch seller at WWE.
Is he really the top merch seller?
He's the top merch seller. He beat John Cena, and so he is the top merch seller. If you get a chance to peek, it's not cheating. Don't worry, you're not cheating on AEW, but check out some of the stuff going on with R-Truth and Judgment Day. He's tremendous, and he needs to win the Royal Rumble. Anyways, off of that, let's get back to this tremendous match. It's exactly that. Now, you talked about the buildup for this as well. That incredible promo of Hook eating pizza out in the snow. And he's just, to me, that was like, and he talks about his record. He goes, but who am I? But then he goes, what do I have to lose? But then again, maybe I am that nightmare. Maybe I am that thorn in your side. And that's just all these matches need to do is put this much of doubt that Hook's going to like this much doubt that Samoa Joe might lose the title. And then that makes it compelling. The psychology itself, the build up, this is what makes AEW so exciting to watch and really, really makes it compelling. And really, and I just hope that we now are really we've got all the foolishness of 2023 behind us, and now we can really just kind of build forward towards some really impressive storytelling. And storytelling comes in two ways. It comes in the build-up, the promos. You can tell they're working with Hook. You can tell there's people backstage. I wouldn't be surprised if Dustin is working with Hook. The way that Dustin cut that promo on Collision, the way that, the stuff that they're doing, I'd love to see that continue to happen with all the young guys, the build-up, but also the storytelling in the ring, the kicking out at one, the surprise, the look on Samoa Joe's face when I can't put this kid away. He thought it was a sure thing. I mean, that's the psychology. That's the stuff that Swerve has. That's the stuff that Hangman has. That's the stuff that all the most entertaining wrestlers have, is that ring psychology and awareness. They read the crowd. They know what's going on. They know how to act in the ring, and it's chef's kiss.
I like that you've used chef's kiss twice this episode so far. And, I think leading up to this match, or when it was first introduced to us or hinted to us, I'll be honest, I was not really that invested. I was not that invested, but like, as I mentioned earlier, AEW did a fantastic job of hook, line, and sinking me into this match 100%. And I was glued to the TV the whole time. And everything from like I mentioned, the commercial free to the way this is the best version of Hook that we've seen. That being said, as usually the most positive one of the bunch, I don't see Hook being a world champion, especially the way Samoa Joe manhandled Hook. Samoa Joe threw him around almost on the level of Crash Test Dummy Darby gets thrown around. And in some essence, yes, Hook is tough as nails. Hook has beaten everyone who's lined up. He's taken down pretty much, except one loss on his record. Now two. That being said, pound for pound, yes, he could be one of the toughest guys in the league in AEW. He has unlimitless potential, unlimitless growth, unlimitless resources at his fingertips, and he's only going to get that much better. I want to be proven wrong when I say I don't see Hook as a world champion, just based on some of the stuff that the way he was getting manhandled by a much bigger, much meaner, much tougher Joe. So this could be and should be one of those like come to Jesus moments where it's like, wow, this is the big leagues and this is how I'm going to be. This was my chance to be in the big leagues. It doesn't get bigger than that. So I want the best. I think, early on, even I thought that AEW had a diamond in the rough with Hook, and he kind of had stop and go booking. I think he needs to shed that FTW title ASAP. I think that FTW title needs to be going to retirement forever, in my opinion. It's a distraction.
It's an accessory. Yeah.
I think it's a distraction, honestly. And go for some AEW gold. Easily I could see Hook compete I would want him to compete in singles gold. The tag team dabbling we saw with who was it? Orange Cassidy and Jungle Boy.
Hookhausen, yes.
Hookhausen, all that stuff, whatever. Yes, that's giving the people what they want.
Well, they missed their chance with that. I think you're right. I think he's either TNT or international title bound. He could go for Orange Cassidy. I will make you a hooker. I will make you.
I'm not anti-hook.
I'm not saying you are, but I think that he does have the potential. It's not now. It may not be for 5 or 6 years, but he's got the potential for world title gold. But this is what this match did. Is it it showed that path for Hook, that this is what's possible. Our buddy the Raz makes a good point too. There were some points where he probably could have sold some of those a little bit better. You see, I think that's kind of the mythology of Hook. He's kind of a skinnier, like he's almost got not quite the Goldberg treatment, but he's got that almost the Sting treatment, because, you know, for so long it was Send Hook. You know, there was this mystique about him there, and there continues to be a little bit of a mystique. He's Hook, you know, and he hasn't lost his shine yet.
Right.
There's been some wrestlers that I feel like started out as these impregnable, you know, monsters, and then now are not as intimidating after taking some L's, where I felt like this L preserved Hook's badassness, and I think he continued. But I'm with you. He now needs to go for some singles gold, and this is another one of those things I was saying about earlier, is I don't want this to be a Taya Valkyrie situation. Granted, Taya Valkyrie's doing some great stuff in Ring of Honor right now, but I don't want Hook to disappear from my TV after this. Hook needs to show up. In fact, I'd love for Christian Cage to be cutting one of his tremendous promos, and then suddenly you hear the chairman's lament, and all of a sudden, y'all don't even know me, and then Hook or the Hook signal,
the Hook
making
signal.
him Batman.
They're giving him a lot of stuff. I think the Hook signal is such a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic the way that they've incorporated that. Really cool stuff on that front. Especially given the landscape that we see with the depth of the roster of AEW, it's just eventually. I mean, we could be having this conversation in 5 years, and it'd be totally different. Hook could be the champ. I think right now we need to, Samoa Joe is this absolute wrecking ball that it's going to take a lot to knock down or knock out. And Hook's time, he's a young kid, and I wouldn't be mad. I would totally accept and like to see him get rid of FTW championship and have that kind of a TNT Open Challenge run after Adam Copeland had the belt for a little while. And you can almost book Adam versus Hook, especially the way Adam's been going for younger wrestlers and everything like that down the line. Let's just say, 8 to 12 months down the line, once Adam beats Christian Cage, which I would assume he was going to be at Revolution and all that. You never know, but give him his chance. But the limitless, like I said, limitless possibilities and limitless upside with Hook on it. And we're getting the best of him every time, and then getting the better of him every time he's in the ring.
Really quickly, because I know we got to talk about the aftermath of Samoa Joe and Hook, but I think that I'm really jazzed about the possibility of Adam Copeland's the Copen Open, Cope Open, and because what he's been doing with this is elevating these youngsters, and he's like Griff Garrison and Lee Moriarty. He's bringing these guys out and he's helping them look good. He's not just jobbing them out. They're having tremendous matches. He had the Lee Moriarty match at Collision we watched. And by the way, anybody that thinks Adam Copeland, Edge, or whatever is being wasted in AEW,
never.
You need to talk to Edge or talk to Adam Copeland. He is the happiest dude. He was smiling after the post show when he was dancing with FTR and Danny Garcia. He had the biggest shit-eating smile on his face. He was high-fiving. He was taking pictures and fist-bumping fans at ringside. He is so happy to be in AEW. He's like a kid at Chuck E. Cheese, and they said, you get to stay here for the weekend. He's having so much fun, and I think that it would be great to see him take on a few more young guys and have great matches with them. And then he has the Copen Open, and all of a sudden you hear Hook's music hit, and the crowd will go nuts. And whether he has the title or not, I think it would be pretty cool for Hook to actually go over on him. But it'd be interesting to see. I don't know. it'd be interesting to see.
I think I think the Copeland situation is fantastic, and it's almost like a rinse and repeat of what Cody did. You know, I
Yeah.
know Cody did a lot of stuff with the open challenge, with bringing in guys like Eddie Kingston and bringing new faces to AEW. That Ricky Starks, yes. So he elevating that. So I think that was a pivotal point in AEW when Cody was doing that. Clearly, because look at the people he brought in based on YouTube promos and based on independent stuff that he's seen. And so, yes, we're getting Adam Copeland challenge, the Open Cope challenge with established and already AEW wrestlers, which is great. But I think what Cody did was definitely landscape changing for AEW. But you talk about after the match of the main event with the emergence of Hangman and emergence of Swerve Strickland.
Whose house?
I love the crowd was so hot for this. The crowd was just chanting, "Whose house? Swerve's house. Whose house? Swerve's house." I think that the way that they're continuing to build whatever feud this is going to turn into, whatever result this is going to turn into with Swerve, Hangman, and Samoa is fantastic. The AEW world title scene is just top-notch stuff, and Swerve is doing top-notch work over 100% everywhere he goes. And this picture says it all. I mean, man, it's his house, and we're all just living in it.
and look at Nana's face. Like, is Nana the best or what, dude? That just he's like, yeah. What are you gonna do?
Congrats to Nana for winning Manager of the Year as well. So
yes,
I mean, Nana deserves every bit of praise that he gets or doesn't get, because the guy is just absolutely hitting home run after home run after home run with everything, like you said, the facial expressions, the outside ring shenanigans, the dancing that we all love. 100% stuff, home run, nonstop from Nana. There it is.
Swerve when I drive. Good.
So
good.
what do you make of what do you think is going to be the next step as we're kind of wrapping up our show for the night? What do you think the next step is going to be for Swerve, Hangman, Samoa Joe, and all that?
All right. This is what I think. This is what I'd like to see. I don't know if this is what they're going to do, but I have a feeling it might end up being a triple threat at Revolution of Joe, Hanger, and Swerve. But Joe retains.
Right.
But then later build up towards Dynamite download to that's us. Yeah, the Dynamite, we're announcing Dynamite download. So
sweet. A match live on
to Double or Nothing. And then I think that's when Swerve, I think it will either get Swerve versus Joe or Hanger versus Joe. I think it should be Swerve versus Joe, and I'd love to see Swerve win. But I think it's too soon for Joe to to drop the title. What do you think?
I'll stand by what I said the last few weeks. Joe's going to have the belt all the way till All In. And I think, yes, you have an 8-ish month run. You don't want to do much shorter, in my opinion, based on the landscape and the layout of the pay-per-views and stuff. I think Double or Nothing is too soon, which is typically end of May or in May. So you're talking about a 5 to 6 month run. Relatively short. I know Jericho's run was 175-ish days, around that. But to me, I think you hold off for the ultimate payoff that we all want as fans and marks, is Swerve dethroning Samoa Joe at All In. And I think that you're building up. You see the crowd reactions with Swerve, and so how you do it, whether you're going to have to pivot Swerve into a different storyline for a few months after all this pans out, and then revisit it for All In, because I think that's the time for us all to be in Swerve's house at All In Wembley. Whose house? Wembley. Swerve's house.
Swerve. Whose arena? Swerve's arena. I'd love to see Swerve versus Ospreay.
Yeah,
I think that would be incredible. That would be incredible. But great stuff. As I have to say, bravo.
Right. Well, that being said, we got a lot. Dynamite was an absolute awesome show. We're going to wrap things up. So stay tuned for, like I mentioned, stay tuned for our channel later this next week for our next interview debut. We're also going to have, obviously, our next episode of Dynamite Download on Thursday. So thank you, everyone. Hope you all have a great week.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, SPD. This is Rock Hard. I just want to say, don't forget about me. I just want to congratulate my boys on the gold. Great job.
Guns up, everybody. Have a great week and enjoy Rampage tomorrow night and Collision.